Sorry, that was the women's. We'll have the gold medal game on Saturday.
And it will be a field of 8 that competes here in this men's 400-meter final. We saw the women's 400 earlier. Sage Watson from Medicine Hat, the winner. What can the men learn from that women's race, if anything?
Well, they'll take note of the conditions of the wind, so they'll decide if the wind is at the backstretch, which means they'll just relax. And they'll take note of how much energy they need to conserve for fighting down to the home stretch, the finish line.
Now you can see the breeze continues to be strong here, but of course wind not a factor because in fact you go with it and you are against it. David Williams of Ontario is the Canada Games record holder at 46.59. That was set in 1958. Because of the wind, though, it's likely it's going to be a little bit more difficult. On a track that you said is a little more springy, it gives everybody a little bit of a lift in their step as we check the field of 8. And we'll go to lane 1, and from Montreal with a personal best of 47.87, 22-year-old Brandon Smith-Drouin. Lane 2 from Ottawa, it's 21-year-old Devin Biaki. Now his father Dan ran in the 76 Olympics in Montreal. Interesting, he's coached by Glenroy Gilbert, who was part of that 4x100 gold medal winning Canadian team in 96. And of course, part of that team was Bruni Surin, and we saw Surin's daughter Catherine win a bronze medal. One of your favorites from British Columbia, this is Brendan Restall. He's from Victoria, out of the U of Vic.
He told me he believes he can win this race, and he's ready for anything, so let's watch out.
He was third at the Canadian Juniors. A couple of weeks back, he won his heat in 48.06. From Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, a lot of people are talking about this young man, 19-year-old Daniel Kellaway. 4 years ago, he was over 55 seconds. In his heat, he was 48.36 to set a Newfoundland record. 19-year-old Daniel Kellaway from Newfoundland and Labrador. Lane 5, this is Brandon McBride out of Windsor and Mississippi State.
He's my favorite here. He's also doing the 800 meters and the 4x400 meters. That 800 strength will serve him well in this race.
All right, you can say it right now. Lane 6, this is Justin Blades, 22-year-old. Yeah, the Blades runner. He's from Yarmouth and out of Dalhousie.
Get this, he's a former MMA fighter, and he says his strength is his clothes, so let's watch and see what happens.
And he is the reigning Nova Scotia champion, won his heat in a time of 48.28. Lane 7 from Coquitlam, BC, races out of the University of Idaho, 20-year-old. This is Ben Ayasu Atta, his personal best, 46.53. And finally in lane 8 from Valleyfield, Quebec, 19-year-old Matthew Sturkenboom, personal best 47.82. I mentioned this track, and the athletes really do like it.
I met with a couple of them yesterday, and they told me this track is fast. So to put that into terms, there's some spring in there. Sprinters like a track that gives them some energy back, makes for faster results, better times. But
on your mark,
it's probably harder on the body as well.
So we'll keep our eyes on lane 3, Brendan Restall from British Columbia. Brandon McBride out of Ontario in lane 5. And Justin Blades in lane 6 out of Yarmouth, Nova Scotia.
set.
And just like as we saw in the women's 400, so difficult to see who's gotten an advantage. But right away, you might have a look at Biaki. But as they go to the middle of the track, Brandon McBride from Windsor looks to have picked up some space. That's him in the red. Watch him right away as they come now through the turn 3, as they have this little bit of a straight. Now they're going to hit the 5-hole, but look at him come now. Brandon McBride, what a run, as we'll look for anybody closing on the inside.
This is where you really want to exaggerate your movements because you're fighting fatigue, you're slowing down. You want to reinvest in the race right here, and you want to pray because you don't coach the last 100 meters of a 400-meter race. You just hang on, and Brandon McBride does.
Boy, did he ever. Brandon McBride running away from the field. The 19-year-old out of Mississippi State is your winner.
This is the hardest part because the turn slows you down. And like I said, a coach does not coach the last 100 meters of a race. You simply exaggerate your movements. You hang on. Great form, great technique, breathing. Remember to breathe the last 50 meters of the 400 meters. And the finish line looks like it's getting further away, but you just keep doing what you've done in practice and get there.
And as we check the clock, as they do a 46.22, they readjust 46.18. So this becomes a Canada Games record for Brandon McBride. And then coming in third is Devin Biaki as he comes across in third place. So look at that, 46.18 for McBride as he sets a Canada Games record. Wonderfully done.
That is impressive. That is amazing. In my best Franglish, il devra être content de sa performance. He'll be so excited with that performance, and he'll put that in his back pocket as he goes to Pan Am Juniors. He told me his goal is to be an Olympic medalist one day, and I actually believe that's going to happen.
Again, remember the name, Brandon McBride. He's just 19 out of Windsor, Ontario. A Canada Games record, and with it, a gold medal here on a sunny day in Sherbrooke.
Bravo.